What is going on, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's doing good on this magnificent 4th of July. How are you guys doing? I didn't really have a big plan about going live tonight. I just wanted to do something, kind of, because it's been a really good day for my family and I. A very chill, very calm, for lack of a better phrase, 4th of July than we're used to. This might have been the most mellow 4th of July I've ever had in my whole life, but it's been a good one. And I sort of wanted, it's been a busy day, but a chill day. And I sort of wanted to cap off the night with a good little fun hangout session, live stream session, whatever you want to call it. So here we are. Not much of a plan. We're just going to kind of run with it like we did on Friday and Saturday. So yeah, I think it'll be a good time. Justin Smith, what is going on? Sean Sr., what's going on? What is up, sir? Vanderhoff, Dirty Filthy Butter, that is right. Please let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me. Am I crystal clear? Am I smooth? Am I polished? Am I sexy? How's the mustache? How's the hair? How's the lighting? Let me know. Let me know. And let me know how your guys' 4th of July has been today, because I feel like it's just been such a weird day. You know, like we got up and, here for the comments. Break out the leftover brats and just see where the night takes you. That is absolutely right, sir. But in my case tonight, it would have been the leftover burgers and the leftover hot dogs. We didn't do any brats this year. We didn't do any brats. Gabby SPN 13, and I apologize if I am saying that name wrong. I pronounce everything wrong, so thumbs up, thumbs back at you. Joseph Smith sounds good. Excellent. Vanderhoff, yes. Fantastic. One of This World sounds great. Stash on point. Excellent. I'm hoping to at least keep it for one more week so I can start doing the twirl thing. But, I mean, that's what I hope. I mean, Shanna, my fiance, might kill me before now and then because she can't stand the stash. And she's turned my daughter against me as well. But, it is what it is. Anyways, how is everybody's 4th going? This morning, started out with the 4th of July parade, which was fun. Hotter than blazes outside, but fun. That was a good 2 hours. We came back. We swam in the pool for an hour or so. By the time I got out, it was lunchtime. Isabella went down for a nap. I got some downtime to edit a couple of videos in that period of time. Went back in the pool thereafter. Ran to the store, got some last-minute goods for the grill, barbecued, burgers, hot dogs, and capped off the night up until now. We went over to Cocoa Village, which is a neighboring town over, to see their firework display. And we just kind of stayed in the car for the majority of it. We got out towards the climax of the show. Isabella passed out on the way back home. It was good stuff, man. Like I said, a very chill 4th of July compared to what we're used to. We didn't have a party. We didn't have a gathering of any kind, really. We really didn't hear from anybody today either. It was just a really quiet, kind of almost unnervingly quiet 4th of July. So, yeah. But I have no complaints. I like chill days, and more often than not now, I like relaxing days. So this is a nice change of pace. Maybe next year we'll do something, a crazy big blowout. But as far as this year's concerned, it's in the bag. I'm happy with how 4th of July turned out this year. What about you guys? Justin Smith says, did you get your hockey puck burger? I did. As a matter of fact, I have pictures of it on my phone, but I forgot to upload them here first, and I don't feel like messing with it. So on the next stream I do, I'll have the proof uploaded about those hockey pucks. They didn't turn out very good today because I bought a new kind of. I didn't make patties from scratch, nor did I buy Bubba Burgers like I usually do. I usually buy Bubba Burgers, but I tried a new variant of Publix organic patties, pre-made patties, and it was like a combination of, I think it was ground sirloin and what is the other thing called? Brisket. I was like, that sounds great, and for some reason they didn't turn out that well on the grill. So I think next time if I ever buy those again, I'll do them pan fried. But they were good, but it just wasn't. It didn't really scratch the that itch of that classic burger I was talking about. But it could have been worse, right? Could have been worse. Vanderhoff says it rained off and on, and I grilled. Yeah, it got stormy here towards the midday, and it sort of stayed gloomy all day after that. We didn't get any rain though, but lots of lightning. Gabby SPN 13, it's cool, pal. Happy 4th from Scotland. Oh, cheers, my friend. Scotland, that's awesome. That is fantastic. So Gabby SPN, is it Gaby? Is it Gabby? Or is it just like I don't know how to pronounce this. Maybe you can like spell it out for me. How am I supposed to say? Is it because I think it's Gabby SPN 13? That's what I would think. But correct me in the chat, in the text if I'm wrong. Wander This World says once you start using the stash oils and bombs, she'll love it. maybe. The problem is I'll spend all this money on bombs and oils and I'll end up shaving it off anyway on my own accord because I get sick of facial hair. But maybe. Vanderhoff says, break out those awesome Halloween 4 masks. Oh, I got one. I do have one. I showed it off on Planet Dirty last night. And I actually recorded the unboxing with my daughter a couple nights ago, and I finally got the video uploaded to my YouTube channel today, and it'll come out on the channel sometime this week. But I do have that mask with me. I'll show it off here shortly because it's become my new grail. Like every time I get an AHD mask, if you've been following me and my channel for any amount of time, you know I'm a mask collector. Especially regarding AHG H4 masks. I think he's the best in the business. His name's Mike. He's from Canada. Fantastic H4 masks. And the one I just got in the mail is my absolute #1 new grail. It's fantastic. I cannot wait to show it off again here. Justin Smith said, did anybody ever figure out what the hell funeral potatoes were? Yes. We have a big group chat on Instagram between me, Christian, Nick, Garrett, Mel, Cody, Justin, and am I forgetting anybody else? I forget everybody. So if I forgot anybody from that chat, I apologize. But she posted in the chat photos of what it looks like, and I'm pretty sure I had them before. I don't think we call them the same thing down here, and I can't explain to you at all what I'm talking about. I'll just have to go get that photo. Maybe next stream I'll show it off. But they looked good and they looked familiar. But yes, we did figure out what they were. Wander This World says, never deviate from Bubba Burgers. Those are juicy. Dude, they're amazing. They're the best burgers, I think. It's weird, too, because I feel like a lot of people look down on Bubba Burgers. And I swear to God, correct me if I'm wrong, Wander This World, but I swear when we were kids, Bubba Burgers were looked at as cheap filler burgers that you can get in bulk for cheap to feed all the kids at parties and barbecues and whatnot. And nowadays, I swear to God, for like, what is it, 8 Bubba Burger patties in a small box, it's like $22, at least at Publix and like Walmart. It's like, it's not cheap. So do they switch, or am I having a crackhead memory? Because I feel like Bubba Burgers used to be cheap, and now they're just not cheap. They are not cheap anymore. But yeah, Sean Sr. says, rain and thunderstorms all day, just stayed in and relaxed. See, it's good to have a nice, relaxing day, man. I commend that. I love nice, relaxing days, especially when it's storming outside. Those are the best. Having a toddler, there's not a lot of quiet days when it's storming to like sit down and read a book or watch a horror movie during the daytime. But, then there's no complaints on that end. It's just a different kind of style these days. But like if there happens to be a storm that rolls in as soon as it's nap time for that good hour, or towards bedtime when the house becomes quiet again, it really brings a lot of nostalgia back. Those daytime, nighttime thunderstorms. It's cozy in your house. You have some mood lighting going. You're watching a scary flick, or you're reading a good scary book. And again, no complaints. I love being a dad. I would not change a thing. But there's it sort of makes those small moments, especially regarding like that we're talking about now, the thunderstorm stuff. It makes them a little bit more sought after when you think about it, in a weird way. If you understand what I'm putting down here. Maybe I'm just rambling here. Ben Grimm says, what's your favorite fireworks scene in a movie? I think, and this is going to sound cliche, Ben, but I think it's honestly probably in The Sandlot, because of course it is, right? That scene where they're sitting down, or they're standing on the field, they're playing the baseball game at night, and they all just kind of stop playing one by one, and they just sort of freeze up and slowly walk together as a group and just stand in the field looking up at this huge display of fireworks. It's amazing. That scene really hits you in the feels. Not that the whole movie doesn't. I think The Sandlot's fantastic. And even if you grew up never playing baseball with kids in the neighborhood and in the suburbs like that, there's something weird about that film that I still think hits on everybody's nostalgia, and I haven't figured out what it is or what it was, because I didn't grow up in the 60s or 70s, but that movie feels like my childhood, even though it's very different from my childhood. But something about it, man. There's just something about it. And if you agree with what I'm saying here, tell me in the comments. Otherwise, I'll just assume that I'm crazy like with everything else. But Gabby SPN13, you say it properly. Okay, good, excellent. You're one of the first people whose names I've ever pronounced correctly, believe it or not. So there it is. Wanda This World says, whenever somebody talks about fireworks, I always think of the scene from Joe Dirt where Spade rattles off all those hysterical names. Absolutely. What do you say? We have like the Sven Wisleys and the Joe Bob Dowdlers or all that crap. I love that. That scene's fantastic. That scene is fantastic. That's one of those movies, Joe Dirt. It's sort of like, I don't know what you would compare it to. I can't think of anything off the top of my head to compare it to, but it's one of those movies that back in the day, before physical media like DVDs and Blu-rays were plentiful and you had a big catalog on your shelf, Joe Dirt, when it came on, you just watched it. You know what I mean? You just watched it. It's one of those movies that you can jump into at any point in the movie and have a good time with it. And that's funny to say too, because I never, like, David Spade and Chris Farley were probably my dynamic duo of the 90s, right? I think they were probably everybody's. Tommy Boy and Black Sheep, two of the funniest movies in existence. And but I never saw David Spade as like the leading guy. It was always Chris Farley, and David Spade was the number two, which is fine. That's not like a dig at David Spade. I love David Spade. But I think Joe Dirt really solidified that he could do, the primary role if need be. I wish he kind of did more stuff after Joe Dirt. He kind of did Joe Dirt 2 years later, which I never watched. I bought the DVD but never watched it, and then sold the DVD like an idiot. But I heard nothing but bad things about it. But he's not really been the leading guy in a lot of movies, that at least that I know about. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I would like to see David Spade do a very serious lead role, like either a detective or maybe even a serial killer, just something to totally blow everybody's minds and switch it up. I think he's recently said that he's happy doing what he's doing, and he has no interest in doing serious stuff. But I think, like Adam Sandler and Uncut Gems, I think David Spade could pull it off, and I think it would blow everybody away if it was done right, properly, with care, and all that jazz. Why are we rambling about David Spade? I don't know, but it was a good ramble. So let's move on. Justin Smith says, I have a mask collection, but all of my stuff is from Devil's Latex because he lives basically around the corner from me. Dude, Devil's Latex is awesome. Devil's Latex is awesome. My first real collector's mask was I got in 2016. It was a 2011 WMP Raining Red Proto Halloween 6 mask by Chris Morgan, WMP. And the second Michael Myers mask I ever got in the collection game was a Michael Myers mask from Devil's Latex, and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I ended up selling it, but it was a great piece. And I bought other things from Devil's Latex over the years too. I bought, I think that same year, the same year I got a Jason Takes Manhattan hood, and I got the hockey mask. I ended up selling that set a year or so later, but yeah, Devil's Latex does great work. I forget the guy's name. Is it Terry or is it Steve? It's not Steve Bellamy, I don't think. I think it's a different guy. Whoever's in charge of Devil's Latex, though, nice guy. Great attention to detail. Good prices, too. Great prices, man. Like, Devil's Latex does quality work. Like, there's nothing to knock about Devil's Latex. I recommend that company whenever I can, to be honest. So, Justin Smith, are funeral potatoes the ones with the cornflakes on them? I don't know. I don't think so. When Mel was sharing the photos of them in our group chat, our Breaking Bread group chat, I don't think there was cornflakes on them, but I could be wrong. Again, I have to go back and fetch that photo. But I swear to God, the photos look so familiar to something I've had down here in the South, but they weren't called funeral potatoes. But we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, Justin. Scratch Burno, what's up, Scratch? What's crack-a-lackin'? Not much, my friend. Just trying to cap off this very weirdly relaxing 4th of July with a nice relaxing hangout session here in TobattoVision. So welcome, my friend. Wander This World 97. Bubba Burgers definitely used to be seen as cheap, but I also think they used to be a little smaller. I would agree, because I swear to God, as a kid, Wander, that I would eat 2 or 3 of them at a party as a young kid, just, one after the other. You know what I mean? So I think you're right. Maybe they were cheaper and they were smaller. Maybe that's what happened. They justified the more expensive price by making the patties bigger, so they just added more, like The Simpsons says, more grade F meat, circus animals, and filler, which I'm fine with because it tastes delicious. It tastes fantastic, so what do we care? I've never gotten sick eating Bubba Burgers, so there's that. There's that. Vanderhoff, I watched Jaws. I know he did not summer an awesome 1990. I watched Jaws. I know he did not summer in an awesome 1990 comedy, Mr. Destiny, with Jim Belushi. Sweet. Nice. Vanderhoff, I'm not really sure what you're trying to say there in that first sentence. I think I either confused myself or you confused me. One of the two. I don't know. But let me know. Let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm just crazy. Wanda This World says, also health standards for frozen burgers like they used to be less. They did. They absolutely did, man. I swear to God, when I was a kid, finding like a hard shell peppercorn or a hard piece of what I assume was bone or something in those burger patties was likely. Now it's like 1 in every 3 or 4. It used to be like every burger there'd be 3 or 4 hard pieces that almost break your tooth off. Am I right? So yes, you are correct about those health standards. Absolutely. Yeah, Steve Bellamy. Thanks, Justin. Yeah, he's the man. He's the man. I haven't bought anything from Devil's Latex in quite a while. I do want to put an order in. Maybe I'll do it for next Halloween. We're sort of close to this Halloween to do anything this year, but maybe next year, because he sells some really, really cool stuff. His Ninja Turtles busts are amazing. I would love to get one of those in my grasp. But yeah, he does great work. Bellamy's the man. Bellamy's the man. Dude who loves movies. What is up, Cody? What's up? Don't forget to roundhouse kick that like button. Thank you, sir. Welcome. You get those hockey. I did, Cody. I did. I absolutely did. I was telling the guys in the chat a little bit ago. I got them, but they were sort of disappointing because today, instead of buying Bubba Burgers or buying the usual, like ground beef and just making the patties myself, I bought some pre-made organic burgers from Publix. And they were a mixture of, I think they were ground sirloin. They might have been ground chuck, but I'm pretty sure it was ground sirloin and brisket together. So I'm like, this is going to be sweet. And for some reason, they just didn't cook right on the grill. So either I was just being inept today on the grill, or I'm inept anyway on the grill, but either I was being more inept today or I should have just cooked them on the damn stove. They were okay, but they didn't rock my socks off like I was hoping. So it didn't satisfy that burger kick I was talking about last night. So I got them. They were hockey pucks. I had the secret sauce. I had my potato buns, but it didn't do it. It didn't do it, Cody. So I'm a little bit devastated, but the day was just too good, too smooth, and too calming to really get to me. So there's that. So there's good news in that. Justin Smith says, I watched Jaws. Oh, and Jaws 2 today. Okay. I couldn't bring myself to watch Jaws 3. See, I'm with you. See, everybody likes Jaws 3. Even I think Cody said last night that Jaws 3 is his bag. But I think Jaws 3 is the most... I don't want to trash the film. It's not a bad movie. I don't hate it. It's just I rather watch Jaws 1 or 2. And as crappy a film it is, technically, Jaws 4 is such an interestingly weird, what the hell were they thinking movie to watch, that I'll watch that any day of the week. It's weird, it's gray, it's bleak, it like takes place over winter break, it looks cold. It's just a weird... Jaws 4 is the weirdest... It's the weirdest, one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen. And I don't hate it. It's a really strange movie. And why does the shark roar like a lion? I have no idea. Or I guess I should say scream like a lion. But very strange, man. Very, very weird movie. So yeah. Anyways. Vanderhoff says, sorry, I watched Jaws. I watched I Know What You Did Last Summer. I Know What You Did Last Summer is a fantastic slasher movie. I think it's still severely underrated. I vividly remember when it came out back in 97. It was a huge deal. The soundtrack raged. I still have it. We had it on a cassette in the 90s. I have it on CD now. Great soundtrack. Great movie. Great cast. What was his name? Ben Negan? Was that the guy's name? Or Ben Willis is the killer, I think, right? Ben Willis. David Egan was who they thought was the killer, but Ben Willis is the killer. The fisherman costume was sweet. Yeah, great film. The fact that it's set, I think it's set in Maine, right? The look of everything about it. The score, the contemporary soundtrack, the cast, the mystery vibe about it. Everything about I Know What You Did Last Summer works. And I think it's different. Like back in the day, I remember this vividly. People said it was a Scream ripoff. I still disagree. It was made of that era. It definitely had that Scream era DNA, sort of like Halloween H2O, for example. The Faculty, all those movies sort of had that Scream DNA, if you will. But I Know What You Did Last Summer is so good, that I was so heartbroken when I Still Know came out. And I've only watched... I can't remember if I saw that in theaters. I didn't see the first one in theaters, but I might have seen I Still Know in theaters with my mom. I can't remember. Which is weird because I vividly remember seeing Freddy's Dead, Jason Goes to Hell, the original Ninja Turtles in theaters with my mom at 3, 4, 5 years old, and so on. But I can't remember 97 when I was 10. About in that aspect at least. Very strange. Anyways, I Still Know was such a deflated bag to me. I need to go back and reassess it because I know it's there's a big cult following for it. It's getting a 4K release soon, which is cool. But I just remember that the hook hand was weird. I didn't like the fact that it was actually like connected to his stump, like Captain Hook. I don't know what else they would have done because his hand got cut off. Like the fact that it was his son and the island thing, spoilers, and like Jack Black was obnoxious. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old and folded. Maybe I've been old and folded for the last 30 years. I don't know. But I Still Know was just a big disappointed yawn to me. But I will reassess. But I'm never watching the TV show. I won't do it. And I'm very excited for the prospect of that I Know What You Did Last Summer requel. I wonder if that's going to be a sequel to I Still Know or if it's going to be a straight sequel to the original 97 film. Will it still focus on the original cast, what's left of them? Freddie Prinze and I'm having a brain fart. What's her name? The main chick. Oh, man, don't do this to me. Freddie Prinze and... I almost said Sarah Michelle Gellar. I'm at a loss, guys. Correct me in the comments. What's her name? What is her name? Anyways, I hope it's... I hope it focuses more on them. But it's probably going to be, I'm assuming it's going to be about their kids or whatever coming back to that town during summer. And like the legacy continues, like whatever. That's what I assume is going to happen, but I'm excited for it. I hope they actually go through with it and make it. Justin Smith, I need to buy his remake Leatherface mask. Yeah, those masks look killer. Those masks absolutely look killer. Good stuff. Good stuff. Ben Grimm, Jaws 4 is my second favorite Christmas-based shark movie behind Santa Jaws. I have not seen Santa Jaws, but I have heard good things about that film. I've heard it's a terrible movie that you love to hate, or you love to love, even though you should hate it. Something like that. It's something like that. Sam Thomason, what is going on? What's up, Brandon? I just got out of seeing The Blackening not too long ago. It was really good. I've heard decent things about that. That movie sort of came out of nowhere. I haven't been following the production on a lot of films. I saw the trailer. It looked pretty good, but it didn't grab me enough to make me want to go to the theaters. I have a weird thing about going to the theaters now. It's just like, it's got to be something I just really want to see. I'm not really taking the risk of, I guess I've become that guy who wants to see his sequels and IPs he knows in theaters and not pay for anything else unless it really grabs him. And that didn't grab me enough to make me want to go see it, but I'll catch it on streaming. But I have heard good things from the few people I know who have seen it. So that's cool. Who's in The Blackening? Isn't it Mike Epps in The Blackening, or am I crazy? Here we go, gentlemen. Banana bread beer. I bought this about 2 months ago. It's been sitting in the fridge. I forgot about it, so I'm going to crack it up in here for this this celebratory. Yeah, Jennifer Love Hewitt. There it is. Thank you, Justin. I cannot believe I forgot her name. I'm assuming it'll focus on Freddie Prinze Jr. and hers characters, obviously. Banana bread beer. I've had this before several times. It's been delicious. Hopefully it's still delicious now. Cheers, my friends. Not bad. Not bad at all. Do you guys want some beer gulp ASMR? Here, let me see if I can do this without burping. Watch this. Oh yeah. That's the stuff, baby. That's the stuff. Vanderhoff, you need to grill some bratwurst, then cook it in a pot of beer, onions, and peppers on a potato bun. It will change your life. That sounds fantastic. That sounds fantastic. Speaking of peppers, I am absolutely craving a big portion of sausage and peppers. I need it in my life. And the fact that you just mentioned peppers and onions, I just need it, man. I need it, Vanderhoff. Ben Graham, Justin Smith, Jennifer Love Hewitt, absolutely. Justin Smith, does it actually taste like banana bread? No, it tastes like, it tastes like a wheat beer. It has that wheat beer flavor. It has that wheat beer flavor with a hint of banana. It doesn't taste like banana bread, or at least the banana bread that I'm used to, but it tastes sort of like wheat beer mixed with banana runts, if you know what flavor I'm talking about. But it doesn't taste synthetic at the same time. It's delicious. It's smooth. There's no bitter aftertaste. It's good, man. I've had this before. I'm pretty sure I had this on draft in Cocoa Beach at one of the bars a long time ago, and it sold me, but it's killer. You can only really find this at Total Wine, and I don't go there very often because it's overpriced, but this stuff I recommend it. If you're into trying weird beers, I'm not a huge fan of trying weird beers. I'm not a huge fan of beers in general much anymore, but this is one of the cool weird ones I try. Ah, good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. America Calhoun, what is going on, man? And I apologize to somebody else in the chat because I assumed I was saying their name wrong. So if it's not America Calhoun, I apologize. Correct me in the comments if it's not. I'm Amric Calhoun. I'm terrible with pronouncing names, buddy. Terrible with it. So don't mind me. I remember seeing Still No in theaters as a kid. It was the first soundtrack I got to. I wasn't good even then. It wasn't good even then. Wasted allowance on it. Not as good as Romeo and Juliet or American Werewolf in Paris. Dude, yes. Absolutely. 1996's Romeo and Juliet and American Werewolf in Paris were fantastic. I don't care what anybody says. Romeo and Juliet is an epic, and American Werewolf in Paris is a severely underrated werewolf movie. I just wish it didn't have that god-awful werewolf CGI. It's so terrible. It is bad. Even back then, I was, as a kid, watching it, an 11-year-old, or a 9-year-old. I was just like, dude, come on. But I think it does sync up well with American Werewolf in London. Like, it carries the story well. Severely underrated werewolf movie. And Romeo and Juliet, like, I've said this before, I am a filmmaker. I pretentiously consider myself a filmmaker, at least, and I always say that Jason Lives is the horror movie that made me want to make horror movies. Jason Lives, like, Tom McLaughlin's my favorite director, Jason Lives is my favorite horror film, so on and so forth. But when it comes to movies in general, the broad spectrum, Romeo and Juliet 1996 was the movie that made me want to make movies in general, not just horror, but movies. It's got guns, it's got gangs, it's got violence, it's got a killer soundtrack, killer pace. The cinematography is severely underrated. It's excellent. It's lush. It's vibrant. It's beautiful. Everything about Romeo and Juliet 1996 is killer. The third act, the Mantua stuff and so on, it kind of drags. But the third act of every Romeo and Juliet version drags. You can't really get away from it because of the plot beats going on within that part of the story. So you can't really get away from that. But the first 2 acts are insane in that movie. I saw that in theaters 2 or 3 times with my mom back when it came out. And even back then, man, it blew my mind. Like, sitting in the theaters, I get goosebumps thinking about it, and I got goosebumps then. That scene in the gas station where Benvolio looks over because he hears the cigar light, and it pans over to, in slow motion, to Tybalt. And we see Leguizamo in full get-up for the first time in the film, and he's, talking about them being cowards and stuff, and the gunfight happens. Like, that scene was so crazy. That movie might as well have been a Western. It's like a neo-Western. I think that's even the subgenre you would consider it, but it's fantastic. Fantastic movie. So is American Werewolf in Paris. Justin Smith says, I hated American Werewolf in Paris. Justin, most people do. I think a lot of people hate that movie. What werewolves look worse than the American Werewolf in Paris ones are cursed? I think the Paris ones are probably the worst. The worst. And that's going up against werewolves like the werewolf in that third Harry Potter film. What is it called? Another brain fart, gentlemen. Another brain fart. The third Harry Potter movie, Prisoner of Azkaban. Lupin, when he transforms into the werewolf, that's terrible. I think the werewolves in Paris still looked worse than that. And that's bottom of the barrel. CG-wise and design-wise and everything. I think it's cool if you could explain it away as like the Paris werewolves were sort of a different strain or variant of the werewolf seen in London. The problem with that is, what's-her-face, who is her dad, or her mom, her dad is David from American Werewolf in London, right? That's so her mom was pregnant when David got shot in the alley in the first movie. Flash forward to Paris, she's grown up now. Her stepdad was the scientist guy who she mauls to death at the beginning of the film. So there's that lineage there. But they should have had all the Paris werewolves look the way they do, which is terrible. But she should have had the design of the werewolf from the first film to really showcase that lineage and showcase the difference. But I think you could explain it away as like different types of werewolves, different strains, so on and so forth. But the fact that they made her look the same as the other ones just totally blows that out of the water. I think it's just sloppy. Ben Grimm, you ever gear Baz Luhrmann's hit 90s song, Everyone Free to Wear Sunscreen? I don't think so. I know the song you're talking about, Everyone's Free to Feel Good, on the soundtrack to the movie, but is that a variant? Is that a remix? Is it something else? Let me know, Ben. Let me know. Amaric Calhoun says, no, you're fine. You actually said Amaric right in the second time. So it's Amaric. That werewolf transition from Paris that was played in the commercials looked good. It probably doesn't hold up. It does not, unfortunately. Justin Smith, I've actually never seen a single Harry Potter movie. It's weird, Justin, because I was sort of the same way. I'm assuming you're the mindset I was, where growing up, going to Books A Million and stuff, I saw the Harry Potter books in the children's section way before the movies came out. And the books, the American versions at least, looked childish. They looked like they were for kids. They didn't look like something... And I was a kid at the time, but like I was at the point where I didn't care about kids' books anymore. So they didn't seem like something I want to pick up that would be any kind of interesting. When the movies came out, the first movie, the second movie, the trailers did nothing for me. I had no interest in the films because they looked like kiddie movies. And when you're 12, 13, 14 years old, you don't want to go watch kids' films like that. You're too cool for it. So nothing like that seems cool or interesting at the time, right? It wasn't until I joined the tech staff, the backstage craft, or that backstage crew at my local high school doing tech work, rigging, and stuff like that. They were all huge Harry Potter nerds. And my boss at the time, Steve, he was telling me, look, you really need to read the books. They're so good. And he kept telling me that they progress and get darker and darker and darker, where the series starts as sort of a kid-friendly story. And by book 3, things sort of start bending. But by book 4, stuff gets really dark, and then it devolves from there. So the first movie I saw in theaters was part 3. We went and saw the first 20 minutes. I couldn't stand it. This is before I read the books. We walked out. The next summer, I think it was a year later, the 4th movie was about to come out. Yeah, because the 3rd movie came out in 2004. The 4th movie came out in 2005. So by the time the fourth movie came out, I started in like Christmas of '04 and read 1, 2, 3, and I finished the fourth book by the time the fourth movie came out. So I read the book first, obviously. Great book, really dark. The fourth movie blew me away. It was way better than 1, 2, or 3 in my opinion. And then by the time the fifth movie happened, then the sixth, the series got so dark and so adult. I remember hearing the parents complaining about it. I remember parents complaining about the later books before the movies even got made about how dark the series got and violent. They didn't want their kids reading it. It was evil. It was witchcraft, all this crazy stuff. But Justin, I swear, once you get to the seventh movie and the eighth movie, which I think are the two strongest films in the franchise, it's the seventh book split up into two movies, so 7 and 8. They are so dark and so serious and so adult that all the remaining remnants of any kind of child-friendly, kid-friendly stuff from the first few films is gone, replaced entirely by a very bleak, dreadful, dark, serious atmosphere that it really kind of gives you a bit of anxiety because you feel the looming dread, and it kind of makes you a little bit, it's hard to get out of the movie once the credits are rolling because you feel so in that intensity for the duration of the runtime. It's excellent. So if you can get through the first few films, you don't have to read the books, watch the movies. I know it's sacrilegious to a lot of people, but you don't have to read the books. The movies exist, and they are in and of themselves masterpieces. But movie 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, another level of dark entertainment. It's fantastic. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. Amer Calhoun. Hell yeah, Romeo and Juliet is so technically good and hits all the Shakespearean beats just right with that 90s. It absolutely does. I agree on every level with that. Every level. Apollo Balboa, 1985. What is going on, Apollo? How are you? Yo, isn't John Landis' son remaking an American Werewolf? I've heard something about that. That would be cool. But what I would prefer is, and I'm not a fan of requels or the requel craze that we're in right now. But if I had my druthers, I would like them to make, I guess it would be more of a direct sequel, not a requel. Because I would like to pretend that the events of Paris still happened. But I want to see a movie come out. It's called, just in big, bold, red letterings, it's the same font from the first movie. It's not called An American Werewolf In or An American Werewolf in Paris. It's just called American Werewolves, plural. And it takes place, the beginning, maybe the half of the first act takes place in London. They go to the Slaughtered Lamb again. It's a straight up comedy. And somebody from there, they're told the story of what happened. Somebody mentions what happened in Paris in passing. So you still get the notation that Paris is still canon to this movie. And then somebody gets bit, they survive. And by the time they get back to America, maybe it's both friends who got bit. So not one of them died and the other one lived. Maybe they both got bit and survived. So by the time they get back to New York City, that's when everything hits the fan. They're changing. They're chasing people in the streets, the subways. Hit all of the familiar beats from the first movie, and even some from the second movie, but make it stand on its own as the third entry. Give it the DNA. Give it the lineage. Talk a lot about David. Maybe bring the chick from part 2 back and the main guy, the hero of part 2 back. That's what I would want to see with the series. I don't want to see a remake. I want to see a third or a second sequel. That would be very cool. Justin Smith says, yeah, I'm the same age as you, so it's the exact same way I was thinking when the books and stuff. Exactly. It was a very weird, very strange era. Ben Grimm, everybody's free to wear sunscreen is a spoken word pop song Baz Luhrmann put out in 1999. Oh, different than the one on RJ soundtrack. Maybe I have heard that before. I don't know. I just don't know. I will check that out, Ben, just for the sake of doing it. Just for the sake of doing it. With that said, let's talk about the floating island.
What is this? A floating island?
Good stuff. What is this, a floating island? With no context. I'm never going to explain what that is, or why I have that in this feed. But there it is for you. All right, I guess we could sort of dive into the meat and potatoes, if there is meat and potatoes to this show. We've been going for what? We've been going for about 40 minutes so far. We're just having a good time hanging out. Kind of a chill little Tuesday night live stream. I keep thinking it's Saturday, but it's totally, it's going to be the middle of the week tomorrow. It's back to work in the morning, right? Back to reality, for better or for worse. Anyways, I sort of want to touch on this because it's sort of real life. It's not really horror movie related, but everybody's talking about it. And it's really been it's bothering me, but it's really captured the zeitgeist of what people are talking about. It really freaks me out because I'm horrified. I'm horrified of the ocean. I'm horrified of the deep ocean. So I really want to talk about the Titan submersible. I'm expecting to see 90% of everybody fall off, and not this crap again. But there's something so scary about that story. Obviously, what happened is tragic. It was totally preventable. We know everything about it. We know all that stuff so far. I don't want to talk about that stuff. That's redundant. What I want to talk about is this really freaky thing right here. I'll go over here right now. First of all, Metal Maniac. Good day, TobattoVision. What is up, Metal Maniac? How are you doing? Justin Smith, did you watch anything for the 4th of July? I have not watched anything. I haven't watched Back to the Future 3. I haven't watched Gangs of New York. I didn't watch Uncle Sam. I didn't watch anything, dude. I didn't watch anything. Not a damn thing. But that's okay. Moving on to the browser. Submersible. And this came out a couple days ago. Or excuse me, this came out yesterday. So this is really freaky. We know what happened. The thing imploded as they were on their descent down towards the Titanic. So this, Titanic sub-passengers were likely in total darkness during their final moments. Obviously, we know all 5 passengers on the submersible were likely killed instantly by the implosion. We know that. But check this out. The 5 people who were killed in the Titanic submersible implosion were likely in complete darkness, save for the light of deep-sea bioluminescent creatures that floated past the sub's main window. The lights of the submersible, which is believed to have imploded sometime after going underwater off the Atlantic coast of the Canadian province of Newfoundland, were to be kept off until the sub reached the Titanic on the floor of the ocean to save battery power, according to a report published Sunday by the New York Times. So take that with a huge grain of salt, but I've seen other articles on the same thing, so I think there's some sort of stock to it. Stockton Rush, the founder and CEO of OceanGate, which operated the sub as a tourism enterprise, also told the passengers, Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood and his son Solomon, French scientist and Titanic expert Paul Henry Nargeolet, and British explorer and businessman Hamish Harding, and I'm probably saying all their names wrong, apologies, RIP, to download some of their favorite songs onto their phones to play on a Bluetooth speaker with the additional request of no country music. So that's what's horrifying to me. And again, we don't need to go through the facts or talk about what happened. We all know what happened. But the fact that they were descending in that thing, probably as it imploded, in total darkness, save for the lights from their phones and like glowing fish from outside that damn bathroom window thing, that's horrifying stuff. Like, I'm already claustrophobic. I'm terrified of the ocean. I'm terrified of the deep ocean. I'm terrified of confined spaces. That's everything about that situation makes my palms sweaty. But the fact that they were also in basic darkness, that just adds to the existential dread and like just hopelessness of the situation. Like, that's just crazy to me. That is so absolutely frightening. Like, you guys, that's horrifying. Am I right? Like, that's real life scary, man. That's real life scary. That is real life scary. Justin Smith says, the memes are what I loved from the Titan sub. See, it was hard to avoid them, and I can't lie and say I didn't laugh at some of them. Then I felt like a total scumbag for laughing at some of them. Like, because these were, I get that they were billionaires and like they knew better. And like Stockton Rush, it really is his fault. He put these people's lives in danger needlessly because he didn't take we know this. I mean, I'm not going to get into it. We know what the problems were. Stockton Rush didn't take the issues seriously, and everybody getting on board this thing weren't necessarily aware of these issues in the first place. These were people's friends, family members, wives, husbands, brothers, whatever the case is. Like, these were people, and like there were a lot of tactless remarks I heard on my own Facebook page from people saying it was just billionaires. Like they don't matter. Good riddance. Like I've heard some horrible stuff from people. Like these are still human beings who died in a thankfully quick way, but it was still a horrible way to go. Like that sucks. That sucks. But I would be lying if I didn't laugh at some of the memes, and I feel awful about it. I hate to even admit it, but some of them were so... The thing with me and memes is this. I don't want to laugh at somebody else's misery because I don't want people to laugh at my misery. It's not funny. I don't like I don't like seeing people in pain. I want people to be happy and in one piece and all that stuff. But my thing with memes is some of these memes, especially the video memes, are such curveballs. And not even necessarily Titan memes, but like any meme I see, the curveball ones make me just, I can't stop. I watched them like 100 times just laughing. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, some of them, I get it, Justin. I hear you. It's not funny, but some of the content surrounding it was funny, and we're all going straight to hell for it. That's what I'll say. So RIP to everybody on that sub. That sucks. Horrible way to go. But at least it was quick. At least it was quick. Joe Jack says, Happy 4th all. I just finished Return of the Living Dead. The Scream Factory 4K looks great. That's awesome. I still don't own that. I finally got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4K a month or two ago when it first came out. I waited like a week or two to finally pick that up. I still need to get Living Dead on 4K. I went to my Best Buy over by my work during lunch break one day a few weeks ago to buy it. It was the last copy they had. But I always shake my Blu-rays and DVDs to see if anything's loose, and it was loose. And I don't care if they say Blu-rays are unscratchable. I've seen them get scratched, and I don't know how long the thing's been loose in its packaging, so I'm not buying anything like that. I'm just not doing it. So I've yet to buy it, but I'm excited for it because everything I've heard about that 4K transfer is they say it's a godsend transfer. So I'm super stoked about seeing it eventually. Eventually I'll get it. Joe Jack. The pictures I've seen of the Titanic and the ocean floor always creep me out. Agreed. There's something so... I'm getting anxious talking about this stuff. There's something so fascinating about the Titanic wreck. It's morbid. It's morbid fascination. I think it's what everybody has with that wreck. But yeah, I mean, it's insane. The fact that people have been down there several times to visit it and take pictures and video the thing. It's just like it's crazy thinking about what happened that night, and it's crazy that we have this weird, rusting vessel at the bottom of this freezing cold ocean floor. What is it, 4,000 feet down or something like that? It's insane to me. And there's tons of plane wrecks and shipwrecks all over the world and the oceans all over the world, but something about the Titanic has just captivated audiences worldwide. It's still nuts to me. It's still nuts. I have a very weird, morbid curiosity about the Titanic. Very weird, morbid curiosity. Justin Smith says the deep ocean is scary. It absolutely is. I find it scarier than outer space, and outer space absolutely horrifies me. Like I'm really scared of three things: the dentist, outer space, and the ocean. And I don't know which order those are going, but yeah. So Planet CHH, what is going on, Christian? Planet CHH was actually successful. He got Bubba Burgers today. So he had the experience, and he already told me that it was a fantastic experience. Right, Christian? So Christian, I'll fill you in real quick since I filled in everybody else already. I did not get Bubba Burgers. I did not get ground meat and make my own patties. I got pre-made organic Publix patties. And they were a combination of either ground sirloin and ground chuck, I forgot which one it was, and brisket. And I put them on the grill, and not only did they start falling apart, unusually, they just didn't cook right. I didn't like the flavor. I really think I should have pan-fried them, so I didn't really get that itch scratched with that burger style I wanted yesterday. So it didn't happen. It sort of happened, but it was just, it fizzled out, man. It fizzled out. But at least one of us got the Bubba Burger fix. I'm happy you got that. Justin Smith says, yeah, Titanic is morbid interest because of how much of a disaster. Absolutely. Absolutely. Amer Calhoun says, I think I would have a heart attack if I was out at sea and seeing a giant whirlpool form around me. The ocean is terrifying, especially all of the actual alien-like fish deep underwater. See, exactly. I agree. Like stuff like, what is it called? The anglerfish. I get that they're small fish, but like that kind of stuff is horrifying. Those things look scary. Those things look terrifying. The goblin shark is horrifying. The goblin shark is horrifying. Like, imagine being the first guy to encounter that thing. It swims up to you. It looks derpy, really derpy, and then suddenly its damn jaw drops out. That's the stuff of nightmares, man. The goblin shark, fun fact, I'm sure most of you know this, but the goblin shark is actually one of the creatures that inspired the design for the neomorph in Alien Covenant. So that's pretty cool. The jaw kind of drops out and comes out. The deacon in Prometheus sort of had the same thing. Again, inspired by the real-life goblin shark. But yeah, we've only explored we haven't explored much of the deep ocean because we can't. As you can see, these kind of things happen because it's just the pressure is so. First of all, it's unknowable. Second of all, it's so cosmically insane that putting anything down there is like it's. I mean, you're either going to waste $1 billion building something and have it crushed, or you're going to send people down there, and that's a gamble too, as we've seen. So, but yeah, I strongly believe there's horrifying things down there we haven't seen. Possibly even giant things that we could, in fact, theoretically disturb out of their slumber, like a la Cloverfield. That movie really freaked me out because I know that came from the deep ocean, sort of like something that was woke up and then terrorized the world. Sort of like Godzilla, but more a scarier situation than Godzilla, I think, because that something about Cloverfield really bothered me. And again, the deep ocean really, really bothers me. Justin Smith says they're predicting the Titanic will be gone by 2030. I've heard that because it's starting to really rust and fall apart quicker than it was before. And there's all that what is this? Some kind of weird bacteria that's suddenly starting to eat all the metal that remains or something. Like it was well preserved for a good 80 years, and then now it's just starting to go quick. Like I think the entire hull is starting to cave in from the top finally. I saw some before and after photos recently of the 2010 dive, and it still looked pretty intact. And there's one from 2 years ago where the whole top looked like it's crushed in. So I think it's starting to go, for sure. There's no way they can raise any of that stuff now. There's no way. I find the ocean super interesting, and even more interesting that they only have a research. Okay, so 10%. So yeah, there's a huge amount of. See, space I find boring. Space is cosmically horrifying to me, pun intended. James Cameron won't say what he saw in Challenger's Deep. Yeah, because he went down to the Mariana Trench or something, right? Or at least as far as he could. Is that right? Is that what happened? The Mariana Trench? That's scary. That's scary. Joe Jack says there was a kid's book in the 90s that had painted pictures of the wrecked Titanic on the ocean floor. Just looking at the pictures really scared me. I don't know why. Because it's a horrifying thing to think about. Think about 9/11. Horrible day. Countless casualties. Terrifying stuff happened to people left and right. The day for everybody around, at least across the country, was horrified by that day. It really stuck with us. And I think 9/11, RIP again to everybody who passed away that day. There's also a weird morbid fascination, I think, with the culture regarding that stuff. Because it's scary, and I think it gives us a chance to sort of look death square in the eye. Sort of like the Titanic is something that actually happened to real people. 9/11 actually happened to real people. That stuff happened, and people ended in horrible ways. And I think it scares us, but it fascinates us because we don't have to take that leap like they did. And I think that's it. It's morbid, and there's probably something wrong with all of us, but it's not even a disrespectful thing, I don't think. It's just a morbid curiosity and a morbid fascination with death and the prospect of what happens after you die, if anything. That kind of stuff. I think it all leads into the same argument. So, weird stuff. We're getting heavy, man. We're getting heavy. So speaking of the Titan submersible, it kind of reminded me of another horrifying ocean-related incident, and this is another real-life thing, and it's a really freaky video. I'm surprised that YouTube allows it to stay up. It was uploaded 15 years ago, and it depicts a guy named, let me see if I can pronounce his name. It's Yuri Lipsky. I'm probably saying that name wrong. He was a scuba diver, that something happened where he was descending with a dive team. He started descending too fast, and he drops all the way to the ocean floor. I don't remember how deep it was. It's pretty deep. And you see the camera from his POV. He's getting stuck in the dirt. You hear him making all kinds of weird noises, and you can tell that he's basically high from not only oxygen deprivation, but from like the chemical in the tanks. I think at that depth, when it mixes, it makes it something happen. I don't know the verbiage on this. I'm not an expert on this. I'll have to read the literature on it again. But something happens where he was basically going insane down there in the debris, and they found his body a couple days later. So it's very tragic. It sucks, but the video is horrifying, and I'll play a couple clips from it now because it's absolutely nuts. Let's turn the volume down a little bit. So as you can see, this is the POV of this guy, Yuri Lipsky. And this takes place, it looks like, I'm assuming that's April 28th, 2000. So it's been quite a while now. But there he is. He's putting on his camera. I'll fast forward. There's the other people in his dive team. And like, the water's blue. You can see the sunlight reflecting off the bubbles and stuff. Like, this is not that, it's still pretty spooky. Like, the ocean freaks me out. But it's not nightmare inducing. But you fast forward about a minute. He's already sort of starting to drop, right? Fast forward, let's see, 3 minutes in. There's that ocean floor. Or I think this is the shelf. And I think he gets off of it. Like right here, he sort of jumps off it or something. Where is it? So there's the shelf. He leaves the shelf. He's descending now. You see the little pieces of particles and stuff coming towards the camera, because basically he's falling, he's descending into the deep ocean. Look how dark it's getting here. This gives me nightmares. I'm gonna have nightmares tonight thinking about this stuff. So I'll try to go back after this video wraps tonight and link this in the comments if you really want to scratch your morbid curiosity further. But like, he's finding shelf after shelf, it looks like, and he keeps going further down. She's like, look at this. Deeper, deeper, deeper. He's on the floor now, I think. And look, it's just pitch black down here. Like, this is nightmare fuel. I think he's, yes, what is he? I don't know if that's 831 feet or something like that, but it's crazy far. I won't show the end of the video because it's pretty morbid, but like, he's in the pitch black section of this ocean. Like, this is absolutely horrifying. I can't do the ocean, man. I cannot do the ocean. That's why it's so surprising to me that they haven't made better. I didn't switch the video. Oh man, the whole time. Let's go back and do it again, shall we? My bad, guys. My bad, guys. Let's redo the surprise. So, there we go. Okay, now can you see the video? Whoopsie daisy. Okay, so here's the video. Yuri Lipsky, okay? So April 28th, there he is. He's with his diving team. He's in pretty shallow water. I'll fast forward it faster than I was talking before, since you guys already heard me speak on it. But they're towards the surface, right? So he gets here, he's descending. He's a little bit away from his group. He gets to a shelf, at least what looks like a shelf, and then he starts descending further and further down. There's his buddy. It's either the same shelf or another shelf. And then for whatever reason, he kept going. And there's another video where his friends are talking about this. Like, for some reason, he just kept going further and further down. They're not sure if maybe his chemicals were improperly mixed from the start, so he was already sort of losing his mind from the jump. They're not really sure what happened. But if you fast forward further, like let's say to 4 minutes, the water is starting to get really, really dark. Really frightening. Like, he's going, like, look at the particles. Look how fast he's going down. Right? You fast forward further, he's on the floor. And look, I'm assuming that's 831 feet down. That's what I think that is. I'm not really sure. I don't really know how those meters work. And I won't show much because, like I said, it gets really morbid from here. But this is so nightmare-inducing to me. It is absolutely insane. It is absolutely insane. So there's that. Nightmare fuel. Again, we just got really heavy. But yeah, that when the Titan stuff happened, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, it brought me right back to that video, because there's only a couple things that we have that documented, at least that I've known about, that they really hit you in that they really hit that primordial fear of the ocean. And one thing is the Titan situation, another thing is this scuba diving thing. Horrifying. Horrifying. Justin Smith says, I've seen this video. I recently watched a dive to the USS Johnston that they found in recent years, which is even deeper than the Titanic. That's horrifying. That is absolutely horrifying. Did James Cameron do the dive? Because I know that James Cameron is like one of 2 or 3 people in the world who's like qualified to do deep dives like that, which is insane to me, considering he's like a filmmaker, so you don't expect that. But apparently, yeah, I'm never doing one of those dives, but if I had to do one of those dives, James Cameron would probably be it. But it's never happening. That is never happening. So change gears a little bit to a little bit, something with a little bit more levity here than that horrifying scuba thing and the horrifying topic of the submersible. I really want to talk about this supposed upcoming Blair Witch movie, which is apparently going to take place. I'm not sure if it's a requel to the first film, sort of like Blair Witch 2016 was, or if it's going to be a direct sequel or a remake or something like that. But I'm excited for it nonetheless because I love the property, and I really hope it's ends up being good. So let's check out this article by Dread Central, and this is sort of an old article. This came out back in May, so I'm sort of behind on this. So it says a new Blair Witch movie is still in the works. And Oliver Park is supposed to helm this next movie in the franchise. Park is known for Still, which I haven't seen, and The Offering, which I also have not seen. So he's no stranger to the horror world. So good. But doesn't say anywhere what it's going to be. Like, there's Book of Shadows. Book of Shadows is low-key awesome, by the way. It's a fantastic horror film. Very underrated. And Blair Witch 2016, which I rewatched recently. I no longer hated the film because I did not like that movie when it first came out. But I'm lukewarm on it. I still think Book of Shadows is a much better sequel. Much better sequel. So I guess this article really gives you nothing about this upcoming venture. Just that this guy supposedly... that kind of sucks. So basically it's been radio silence, pun intended, since May about this. So do we even know if this is actually a real project? Is this actually a real film? That's what I want to know. Speaking of Blair Witch 2016... let's see, according to Wikipedia, so again, take this with a huge grain of salt. It's reporting a $5 million budget. I'm not sure if that probably doesn't include marketing budget. I guess it might. But it made $45 million. So it's not a huge hit, but if their budget was only $5 million, especially if that includes the marketing budget, $45 million is nothing to screw up. That's a pretty good profit on a $5 million venture. But critically, the movie it kind of just came and went. It wasn't a big hit. It certainly wasn't the hit that the original film was at all. It was not that hit. I think people were lukewarm at best. And considering the amount of marketing that was around this film, like with the Woods thing, and like it kind of became a surprise Blair Witch sequel after they changed all the marketing stuff around the promotional materials. I think people were expecting the Godfather of horror films, so to speak, after that whole campaign was finished. And they sort of got... It wasn't a lackluster film, but it just sort of felt like another Woods movie. It didn't feel scary like the first film did, and it didn't feel inventive like the first film did. And I think the movie within a movie of Book of Shadows was a more creative way to approach a sequel than Blair Witch 2016 was. It was cool having the brother of Heather be in the film. That's a cool idea. But it just wasn't explored enough, and I didn't really like the ending. The ending was kind of, it was just too expected. It's too expected. But yeah, there's that. Justin Smith says, no, it was some random guys that I don't know the names of that did the dive. Ah, nice. Justin Smith says, The Witch in the 2016 one is pretty terrifying. See, when I watched it recently, I was watching for that scene again because there's that one shot where you see her creeping around the corner. I didn't find it terrifying. I thought it was goofy. And I'm still like, is that supposed to be the witch, or is it supposed to just be some kind of woods creature that lives out there? Because if that's really supposed to be the witch, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I haven't seen this movie, but my fiance has, and she swears by it. And I've seen the production design is terrifying on it. It's that Tooth Fairy movie. I think it's called Darkness Falls. And the Tooth Fairy in that film is scary looking, right? That I assume that's how when I saw those designs of that movie, that's how I pictured the Blair Witch herself should look. Something like that. Something more classic, but feral and visceral and scary and terrifying. Not a like lanky, yellow, weird alien looking thing walking. That's just, I don't know. It was too I don't know. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. John O'Bannon, what's up, John? Good evening, everybody. Happy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July to you, sir. How are you? We're just having a chillaxed, morbid, but chillaxed live stream tonight. Kind of closing out the holiday weekend, even though it's Tuesday night. Saturn Video says, what's up, Saturn Video? He says, Darkness Falls needs a new release. It does, because I still haven't seen it. And I've heard nothing but bad things about that movie, besides what Shanna said, my fiance. Everybody else I've talked to says that the film fucking sucks. Like fear.com levels suck. But again, I can't speak to it because I haven't seen it. Justin Smith says, Darkness Falls I liked. Wow, one of the few. There we go. There's the number 2 person I've heard who says the film is good. Ben Grimm. McFarlane put out a Blair Witch figure. It looked pretty cool. I think I've seen that. Like an action figure of the Blair Witch herself. Yep. John O'Bannon says, loving the live streams. Tobatto, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You know what, Ben? Let's look up this action figure right now. Let me see if I can find it. Todd McFarlane Blair Witch. Ooh, there it is. I remember this action figure. I remember seeing this in Spencer Gifts years ago. I should have bought it. That is so sick. Yes, but again, this is a cool design. It's a cool design. But even this, I think, is a bit too far. Like, that's awesome, but it also looks a little bit too creaturey. Like, I'm glad this wasn't in the movie. Like, it's scary, but like that would sort of, that's too much. It's scary, it's cool, but that's too much. Like, look at her face, man. This is more Evil Dead-ish to me. Like, it's just too Evil Dead to me. It's not scary. So, yeah. But, with that said, I think we should go back and compare that to the Darkness Falls Tooth Fairy. Because you gotta get a clear picture of what I'm talking about. She is absolutely horrifying. The Darkness Falls Tooth... Yeah. This is... Dude. So check this out. So that's how she looks apparently in the film. Like that's to me, if they were to ever have to show the Blair Witch on screen, even if she was like an apparition or something, I feel like this is sort of like the design that they should go with for it. You know what I mean? Like, this is the design. Absolutely the design. It's creepy. It looks natural. It doesn't look too over the top. She looks burned and tired and dirty and worn. But I would believe this in a film. This would be scary, walking around that corner. Not that gelatinous, yellow, evil alien looking thing. But this would be scary. Apparently she's on the poster too, like that. Look at that. Imagine seeing that coming out of like the darkness of the woods. Like, that's horrifying. That is absolutely horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see, where are we at? Saturn Video, I'm buying it now. Damn. You're buying what? The Darkness Falls or the Blair Witch action figure? Either way, you can't lose. Justin Smith says, yeah, Army of Darkness figure. It sort of looks like an Army of Darkness figure. Americ Calhoun says, I remember when Sci-Fi Channel and USA would play the first 10 minutes of a few movies, and in the early 2000s, the Dawn remake and Darkness Falls were among them. Darkness was freaky in theaters too. Nice. I still love the Dawn of the Dead remake. I think it's fantastic. I think out of remakes go, Dawn of the Dead and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 are top tier as far as horror remakes go. Because those two films stand on their own, man. Like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003, there's a whole clique of people who prefer that movie well over the original movie, which is blasphemous to me, but I can see it because that movie's a masterpiece. Again, the only mistake of the 2003 film, I think, is the fact that they chopped Leatherface's arm off, rendering any possibility of a non-comedic sequel, it's just, it's not happening because they chopped his arm off. Stupid mistake, but the movie itself is a masterpiece beyond that. But Day of the Dead, or Dawn of the Dead, itself, also it stands on its own. I think I still prefer Dawn of the Dead over the remake, but the remake is definitely scarier. I shouldn't say that. Don't hold me to that. That sort of fluctuates by the day. I go back and forth. But I do think when it comes to the topic of what's scarier, I think the 2004 movie, hands down, is way scarier, obviously. The zombies look horrifying, especially in the third act. They run. It's just great movie. And CJ is the best character. I'll let that be known right now. CJ is the best character in that film. The best character. Justin Smith says, the Dawn remake was filmed near me, then they destroyed that mall. Wow, that sucks. That seemed like a pretty big mall in that movie. Why did they take it down? Is there like condominiums there now or something? That's what I would assume they would do. Build condos there. Thompson Tom. What's up, Thompson? Sup, Brandon? I just hopped on. What's going on, man? How are you? How are you? Justin Smith says, I'm one of those people that like the remake more than the original TCM. A lot of people do, man. I don't, but I totally get it because it's a great film. It's a great, great film. That is a brutal, angry, unforgiving horror film. That's for sure. Amert Calhoun says, the Dawn, TCM, and Hills Have Eyes remakes really do rival their originals. They do. They do. Again, Dawn, I go back and forth between that and the original. I'll take the original TCM over the remake. But The Hills Have Eyes, that remake exceeds anything that the original did by far. Like, I don't ever need to see the original Hills Have Eyes, or its sequel for that matter, again, because I enjoyed the 2006 film so much. The mutants were so visceral and so creepy and so well done. The makeup was so good. The acting was great. The cinematography was great. The environment felt hot. It felt gross. It felt sweaty. It was brutal. It was unforgiving. It was relentless. Some of the scenes went a bit too far. A lot of the younger crowds at the time couldn't, for good reason. It was just, what I'm saying is that, and Shannon knows what I'm talking about. There's a couple intense scenes in the Hills Have Eyes remake that turned a lot of people off, and I get it. But I like its sequel too, the 2007 Hills Have Eyes 2. I think it blows the original sequel, obviously, because that was, I liked it, but it was still two tiers away from garbage. The 2007 sequel eats the original sequel. So, absolutely. Absolutely. Justin Smith says, I hate the baby scene in the... I do too. I think that was pretty hokey. It didn't work. Joe Jack says, Romero's Dawn is a little too long. Day is perfect. Joe Jack, I guess it really depends on which cut of Dawn you watch, because there's 3 or 4 different cuts. And I think the long one is probably the best one. I think the Argento cut is the longest one. The one that's just called Zombie. But correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. If Christian is still here by chance, he'll know. But I love Dawn. I love the length of that film. I think it's an epic, and it feels right to me. It never drags. You know what I mean? I kind of wish the 2004 film was 45 minutes longer, if that makes any sense. Relaxed and sleep time. What's up? What's going on, man? My favorite scene is in the sewer coming back from Andy. That's an intense scene. Absolutely intense. The worst part is when they finally get back into the mall above ground, like on the second floor, and they're running for cover in the elevator, and the zombies are just full force through the mall. Like, their safety net is gone. Like, it's just to the vans, all or nothing. Stuff's hitting the fan. It's crazy. I need to go watch Dawn of the Dead 04 now. I just love that movie. I love it. Thompson Tom, good, thanks. Good to know, man. Good to know. Saturn Video says, one of the security guards in the Dawn remake played Will Blake, the werewolf from Goosebumps, Werewolf of Fever Plum. Really? Which one was he? Was it like sort of the derpy young guy who wants the soy mocha latte with foam, or was it the other guy? Because I swear to God, the other security guard, not the CJ guy, but the other guy who says something like, I could have tapped that for sure. That dude, that guy looks to me like one of the kids from Wonder Years, and it's not the actor. I forgot which actor I'm trying to think of here, but he looks like that kid. I swear to God he does. Swear to God he does. Joe Jack, the Dawn remake is one of the best all-time remakes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Justin Smith says it was really being used. They tore it down after. Oh, that sucks though, because that was. I think they used CGI to sort of fill out the outside layout in the movie. It wasn't actually that big of a mall, right? What's weird though is when that game Dead Rising came out back in when was it? Not too long after the Dawn remake, I don't think. I didn't have the game, but my friend Grant did, and we played it over there at his house. I swear to God that the layout of the mall in that game seems like the layout of the 2004 movie. Was the actual mall anything like that game, or am I just crazy? But that sucks to know, though. That would have been a cool place to visit at some point for like a documentary about it. But that sucks. That sucks. Saturn Video. The Hills of Ice 2 has a kick-ass soundtrack. It really does, dude. It really does. Amor Calhoun. I remember people in the theater being audibly put off by the dad burning in the hill. That was pretty gnarly, too. That was pretty gnarly. That was way gnarlier than the original version, too. John O'Bannon says the Hills remakes were great, but I wasn't a fan of the lengthy essay scenes. A lot of people weren't, and they were a little bit too, I think especially in part 2. Like in the first movie, it felt visceral and real and horrifying, and like you believed that these mutants were probably sex-deprived psychopaths that would do this to this young woman in horrible fashion. Like you believed the intensity and the scumbagness of these people to do that to this person. But in part 2, when you had Papa Hades just trying to procreate and rape the girl, like they show the scene, like I get it, but it felt more like they were just putting it in there for the shock value in part 2 versus part 1. They were sort of showcasing the real horror of it, but part 2 just felt like it was for the sake of, which I'm not all against necessarily, but it's just it felt tacked on. It didn't feel real with the story to me. He was the younger guard. You're right. Okay, that's cool. I didn't realize he played the werewolf. That's pretty weird. That's a weird tidbit of information. Weird tidbit of information. Joe Jack says, I'll put the Hills remake on my watch list. Haven't heard much about it. Love the OG. The OG is good. And again, I like part 2, but something about they're not new anymore. The 2006 and 2007 films blow those films out of the water. It's insane. Thompson Tom says, Saturn's right. The security guard was the werewolf. That's crazy, man. I never knew that until right now. My mind is blown. My lunch tray is solidly flipped. Absolutely flipped. Relax and Sleep Time says, 2006 for Dead Rising. I bought new. Nice. Hills of Ice 2 is so boring. Nothing happens. Yeah, because most of it's flashbacks. And the dog has flashbacks in part 2. Again, that's why the remakes part 2 is infinitely better. And again, I have a soft spot for the original sequel. It's cheesy and redundant and weird, but I do like it. But the 2007 film is just insane. Napoleon is a funny-ass character in that movie. And the green screen shots in part 2 are just hilarious because you can totally point them out. It's hilarious to me. It's hilarious. Hey, Planet CHH is back. There he is. Now, Christian, before you go, enlighten the audience. How many cuts are there of Romero's Dawn of the Dead? I thought there was 3, but I think there might be 4. And is the longest cut the Argento cut? Let me know real quick before you go to bed, or I will kill you. Thank you. Thompson says, hate to change the subject, but we watched a Halloween mask tutorial of yours, Brandon. You do kick-ass work, would buy if you sold them. I do sell them, Thompson Tom. I do. So if you're ever interested in a rehaul or a repaint of an existing mask you already own, or if you need something fixed, or if you want a whole ground-up sculpt, I only have one of them. It's the Mineshaft 88. It's a concept Halloween form mask. Yeah, just send me a message, man. We can work something out. But I do sell my stuff for sure. Absolutely. And I do work for people. So absolutely get at me if you're interested. Halloween's coming too, man. So let me know. Let me know. Saturn Video, Laugh Out Loud CHH. I think he's gone too, man. He's already gone. Thompson Tom says, hey, Christian and Night Bro. Good night, Planet CHH. Joe Jack, all cuts are on the second site release, I think. Excellent. I don't own that. I really need to own that. What I have on Blu-ray for Dawn of the Dead Romero is a bootleg I got off eBay accidentally because I bought Dawn of the Dead on eBay and I thought I was new. This is like 2 or 3 years ago. Really good price, and I thought I was new. And when I got it in the mail, I realized that the disc was a DVD-R, or a Blu-ray, or BDR, excuse me. It was not, you could tell by the way that the label was printed. The cover was printed on an inkjet printer. It was just, I was like, what? This is bootleg. So that's why it was so cheap. I didn't send it back. I didn't complain, because when I played it on my Blu-ray player, which it worked fine right out the gate, the picture quality was so good. And there was chapters in there so I could skip if I wanted to. There was nothing to complain about. And at that time, there was nothing even remotely affordable as far as Region 1 releases of Dawn of the Dead. And I haven't gotten the new releases that came out yet, because I do want to officially buy them, because I'm not a fan of bootlegs. I'm really not a fan. Saturn Video says a ton of actors from Goosebumps went on to do more horror films and projects. Catherine Isabel, Brennan Fletcher, and Chris Lemke. Also, the guy who played, what is his name? Hayden Christensen, who played Darth Vader in episodes 2 and 3. He was in the Night of the Living Dummy 2 episode, I think it was. He was terrible in it. Absolute terrible. But he's the one actor from I remember. And I think, what is his name? What the hell is his name? Ryan, Blade Runner, the sequel. Ryan, The Notebook. He's in the upcoming Barbie movie. What is his name? Ryan, The Notebook. What is his name? Ryan Gosling. I think he started in Goosebumps. I'm pretty sure. Thompson Tom says, will do, good sir. Justin Smith, I'm not a fan of bootlegs either. Yeah, I mean, I get it sometimes. I own a few of them. But if there's an official version, I'd rather get that. And if there's not, I'd rather wait. Because usually bootlegs are not very good. Usually they're not. Sometimes they are. Ryan Gosling was Say Cheese and Die. That's it. That's absolutely it. Speaking of Christian, real quick, I'm going to change gears here for 1 second. I have a beef to pick. Okay? I have a beef to pick with the Unita Boys from a couple days ago's 100th episode. I have a beef to pick. Okay? The problem is this. They're talking about all these movies coming out, and Christian, I'm calling you out. Nick, I'm calling you out. Lee, I'm calling you out. Piz, I'm calling you out. After all the movies you guys talked about, nobody brought up Ghostbusters 4. Nobody brought up Ghostbusters 4. We were talking about Saw X and whatever the hell else is coming out, but nobody brought up Ghostbusters 4. I am personally disturbed and hurt, and I feel attacked. So I just wanted to point that out, that I have some serious beef with the Unita Boys now. So I want to throw that out there. It's on site. It's on site. It's got to be. It's got to be. You don't leave my boys out of this. Right? Exactly. Who's with me on that? So, Thompson Tom says, haha, Saturn beat me to it. Justin Smith, Ryan Gosling was on some crappy show called Breaker High. Never heard of that. Ben Grimm, Gosling was also in Are You Afraid of the Dark? He was. I watched Breaker High, LOL. So yeah, Unita Boys, serious beef. And on that note, it never stops. It never stops. Maybe one more time. But Ghostbusters 4. It looks like as of right this very second, there's 20 of you guys in here. Is anybody else as stoked about Ghostbusters 4 as I am? Or is there something coming out this year that you're more stoked about? I mean, obviously, I think if you were here the last couple episodes we did on Friday and Saturday, I talked about Saw X. I talked about some other stuff which totally it's totally left my mind. I'm having a huge brain fart moment tonight. But Saw X was one of them. What are you guys looking forward to in 2023? Not 2024, 2023. Justin Smith. Oh, Ben Grimm says he was also young Hercules. Was he? No way. Get out of here. Get out of here. Justin Smith says, I honestly don't have much interest in Saw X, more interested in The Nun 2. I have not seen The Nun 1, but I need to. Thompson Ton says, LOL, agreed. Ben Grimm says, I'm mad that they moved away from Oklahoma. I'm in Oklahoma and like them in a new area. Joe Jack says Dune 2. Yes, I haven't seen Dune 1 still, but I really need to see it. It's on my HBO list. But I'm excited for Dune 2 nonetheless. With that said, it looks awesome. I really need to go watch Dune 1. I need to. Yeah, Justin Smith excited for Ghostbusters Firehouse. Do we know if that's actually the name yet, or is that still the working title? Because I hope it's not called Firehouse. There's something so clunky about that title. Clunky, clunky, clunky. Ben Grimm talking about Ghostbusters. Yep. Well, I mean, I'm sure we'll see 1 or 2 scenes of Oklahoma, correct? Like, they're probably going to be leaving it, I'm assuming, and then going to New York. That's what I assume is going to happen. I feel like we'll at least see the farmhouse, because they're going to want to throw back again to Egon, right? Like, they're going to want to have one small scene of the house or something. I'm assuming. That's what I'm assuming. Saturn Video says, of course I am, a giant Ghostbusters fan. Dude, I'm so excited, and I really hope it doesn't get pushed back, but I have a really bad feeling that it's going to, because we haven't really heard much about it. There's the teaser poster. We know they wrapped filming, but, like, it's July, so we're 4 months removed from basically the movie, 5 months. I feel like this is the type of big movie that the marketing campaign should already be hot and heavy and rolled out right now, so... Yeah, Justin, it's filming in UK too, which is very weird. And I know Bill Murray was spotted on set over there. So I don't know if it's going to be like a Ghostbusters International type story. I kind of hope not, because that's too big and too broad. I really want to see Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson, and as much of Bill Murray as he'll let us have in the film. First and foremost, that's what I want. I don't want to focus too much on the new cast from Afterlife and then some other new cast in the UK. Like, I don't want to split the attention span. So I really hope we stay in New York the most of the time. I'm still hoping maybe they're filming in London, because maybe they're shooting for New York in certain areas, or maybe they're shooting in a studio over there. Maybe it's not just for London's sake. But I don't know. I don't know. Sympathy for the Devil might have some potential, but the twist seems obvious from the trailer. I have not seen the trailer for that. Amarick says, Talk to Me from A24 might be good. I have not seen the trailer for that either. Guys, I am so behind with a lot of these films coming out this year that I guess it makes sense that the only thing I'm excited about is Ghostbusters 4 and Saw X, because I haven't really heard about all these things. I wish Rick Moranis would return for one. I wish he would too. I think it would be hilarious. I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually a surprise that happens in the film. That would be very cool. But changing gears again, I mentioned earlier that I wanted to show off my new Halloween 4 mask that I got a few days ago in the mail. And the unboxing for this will appear on the channel at some point this week. But this is a AHG Halloween 4 mask. He's been doing the V1 style again recently, and he made the last mask upon request, and this one he made upon request. This is a AHG V1 Halloween 4 mask, which means it's the first mold, the first sculpt he ever did. He's making new ones of that mold. I bought a V1 a couple weeks ago. This is my newest V1. And this is the Vincent's Drugstore version. Check this out. Boom. Dude, look how insane that is. Look how insane that is. So this is basically the shot in Vincent's Drugstore where you see the mask on the shelf out of focus behind Jamie. And there's the close-up of this mask on the shelf where Michael's hand kind of reaches down and grabs it and the mask crumples. This is that version. It's called the Vincent's Drugstore. Basically. That's what it's called. And I think this is my new grail. This is the most accurate, I think, in existence as far as H-Force goes. And it's so creepy. It's so raw. It's so grungy and eroded and just, it's so... Like, this is a quality mask. Quality latex, quality paint job, quality hair job. Fantastic work. But the thing about the Halloween 4 mask is it looks schlocky and thrown together. And this looks like that, but it's made so well that it's just, it's crazy thinking about the amount of time and effort that went into this piece to make it look this way. It's just, it blows my mind, dude. It's insane. Look at that. Look at that, dude. So, yeah. Super stoked about that. Super stoked. Where are we at? Joe Jack says, without Egon, no thanks. Yeah, well, I get it, but that's unfortunately, we can't We can't really fix that. I thought they did a good job and a good send-off in Afterlife. The CG blew me away. Because I'm not a fan of CGI'd faces like that. I thought Tarkin looked terrible. Princess Leia looked terrible. I even thought Luke Skywalker looked pretty terrible. But when Egon showed up on screen in Afterlife, I was like, holy crap, how did they do that? Because he looked like he was there on set. An older Egon. It was insane to me. Insane how they pulled that off. Saturn Video says Last Voyage of the Demeter. Yes, absolutely. I forgot about that. I keep forgetting about that. That's going to be cool. That'll be very, very cool. Thompson Tom says, love the video with you and your daughter showing the mask. Thank you very much. She actually helped me unbox this one too, so she'll be in the next video. She really enjoys the unboxing videos we're doing. So it's good. It's a good little like playlist trend we're doing with that. Thompson Tom also says, freaking sick. Love it. My H4 is my second favorite. Dude, it's so good. And so I don't want to say underrated because it's not anymore. A lot of people love Halloween 4, but it's still, even as underrated as it, or as non-underrated as it's become, it's still criminally underrated compared to what it should, to the following it should have amassed by this time. Like, everybody should like Halloween 4. It's so damn good. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Justin Smith says, what's your favorite look of Myers? My favorite look, and this is sort of like the Freddy Krueger argument I have. My favorite look for Michael Myers is Halloween 2, 1981. Dick Warlock's visage in the suit and the mask. My favorite look. The scariest Myers look is the Halloween 6 Myers. But one of the creepier looks, obviously, is the Halloween 4. Like, the Halloween 4 look is absolutely frightening to me. Like, this, as derpy as people say it is, and I guess on some level it is, there's something so scary about the Halloween 4 masks. And I say masks because although it's the same sort of facial expression, we see a tons of variants of this in the movie. There's this, the regular mask, the thing with the extension on the bottom, without the extension, pink hair, fleshy colored. You know the whole bit. There's tons of versions in the movie, and every single one is horrifying. Yeah. I've said this before in other videos, not live streams, but video essays. By the time Halloween 4 rolls around, Michael Myers seems very inhuman compared to what he was in 1 and 2. He seems almost like an insect, like one of those mimic bugs wearing a skin suit or something. He seems unknowably inhuman. Not so much in Halloween 5, obviously, which I do love that movie. I do love that Myers. I do love that mask to an extent. But Halloween 6 sort of brought back that scary insect-like Myers, which freaks me out. And I think the only other movie that he was scary like he was in 6 and even in 4 was Halloween Kills. I think Halloween Kills really captured that manic, aggressive, inhuman, frightening aspect of the character that we had not seen since Part 6. 2018 didn't have it. Ends didn't have it, but Kills is the current scariest Michael Myers. Not as scary as Halloween 6 or 4, but Kills just, it did it, man. Kills did it, for sure. Absolutely. Let's see where we are in the chat. Thompson Tom, H4 is even more emotionless, pure boogeyman. Absolutely. That's probably the reason why, or at least one of the reasons why. Thompson Tom, Warlock's my favorite. There you go. Warlock and Wilbur are my two favorite Myerses. Pure devil in there from his performance. Absolutely. And I think a lot of people knock on Warlock because they say he was too robotic. But I feel like Warlock was more in line of the spirit of what the shape was said to be than he was in the first movie. Like in the first movie, no matter what Dr. Loomis said about him, he still seemed like just a young kid in a mask, which is fine. But in part 2, he seems very inhuman. So he seems more like what Loomis's boogeyman was being described as in the first movie than he actually was in the first movie, if that makes sense. So, Justin Smith says, have you seen the trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's? I just watched it 2 days ago. It looks pretty cool. Obviously, I saw the Willy's Wonderland movie last year. I finally got that on Blu-ray. Enjoyed the hell out of it. So obviously I'm making the comparison. I think Five Nights at Freddy's, the game, came out before any of those movies, because I think Banana Splits is another one sort of like that, right? But I think those movies, both of those movies, I think were homages to the game without having copyright or licensee issues. So they were different. I think that's the reasoning behind them, correct? It's got to be. But the trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's, it looks cool. It just, again, because we're so close to Willy's Wonderland still, it kind of feels like I'm just watching that trailer to a lesser extent. But I'll watch it. I might even go see that in the theaters. Who knows? Who knows? I need to play those games. I've never played them. Are they good? Justin Smith, that's mine too. Dick Warlock's look in H2. Fantastic. Fantastic. Plus H2 has the blood tears. Pure cinematic growth. Absolutely. Thompson Tom. Absolutely. Joe Jack. Hot take. The only Halloween movies I actually like are 1, 3, and 4. That's not a hot take, Joe Jack. I know a lot of people who love 1, 3, and 4 and nothing else. Absolutely. But good stuff. 1, 3, and 4 are fantastic in their own rights. Justin Smith says, yeah, the games are kind of lame. How many games are there? And how are they interesting? Like, isn't it one tiny little building? Is there are there bottom levels? Are there multiple? I don't know anything about those games. But how do they stay interesting if it's just one, like, kids shop thing? Like, it's like a Chuck E. Cheese, basically. How does that remain interesting? I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know, guys. I don't know. But I do know this. I also know this. And this.
What is this? A floating island?
Also, the Unita boys left out Ghostbusters 4, so it's just on site. It's going to be on site. I mean, how dare you? Honestly, how dare you? Thompson Tom says, Brandon, have you seen Sometimes They Come Back? Underrated Stephen King film. I have seen it, and I will be this guy. I think part 2 was better. I enjoyed the hell out of part 2. The scene where the guy's throwing like the playing cards at Jan. Crazy movie, man. Crazy movie. Justin Smith, you basically sit there and watch cameras the whole time. Okay, that's weird. Joe Jack says the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game comes in August. Yes, I'm stoked about that. I am really stoked. I am getting that hopefully day one. Hopefully day one. Justin Smith says, is there any context for that floating island clip? Nope. Well, I have the context in my own head, but I'm never going to put it here, and so you guys are just going to have to wonder about it until the end of time, because it's just no context needed.
What is this? A floating island?
Anyways. Good stuff. Good stuff. Justin Smith says, yeah, I played the TCM game. I was part of the tech test. That's very cool. Very cool. Explain to me, Justin, because I haven't played the Friday the 13th game either, even though I really wanted to, but I guess now I've missed the boat because they're shutting down the servers, right? The Texas Chainsaw Massacre game is going to play like that game, correct? So it's going to be basically either you're hiding from Leatherface and the family, or you are Leatherface and the family, and the goal is to either kill the kids or survive the family. That's the goal. There's not going to be any kind of a story mode where you can play through the story of the movie, correct? Am I correct? Or is there going to be a story mode? Because that would be very cool. That would be very, very cool. Thompson Tom. Yes, the sequel, the guy from Tremors that's married to Reba. What are you referring to, Thompson, right there? Oh, Michael Gross. He's married to Reba, huh? Let me look that up real quick. That's weird. Michael Gross. Oh, right, the actor, duh. The guy, he plays, what's his name in the movie? He plays Burt Gummer. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was thinking, he's not actually married to Reba in real life. He meant in the first Tremors movie. Okay, I get you. I was so confused for a second there, Thompson. My bad. Again, my brain is not here tonight. Joe Jack says, dude, the Friday game is amazing. It's only $5 now. Yeah, but is it worth playing? Because the servers are dead now, right? You can't even really play with anybody else. Am I right or am I wrong? Neo Z, what's up, Neo? Any chance you can play the Dissect an Alien commercial for the chat homies, please? Dissect an Alien. Dissect an Alien. Dissect an Alien. Neo, am I missing something? Is this an inside joke? Am I having another brain fart? Let me know in the comments what you're talking about. Dissect an Alien commercial. Justin Smith says, very similar, but I found TCM to be more fun than the Slaughterhouse map. Not sure about story mode. I doubt it, though. I'm pretty sure it'll be online only. That's fair. Saturn Video says, you can play F-13 until December. Oh, cool. Nice. I will buy it then, because I do want to play it. Once the server goes down for F-13, will you still be able to play it? Like, is there a mode where you can play it without having to be online, or once the servers goes down, it's just kaput entirely? Like, how is that going to work, Saturn? Justin Smith says, F-13 game, you can play it, yeah, for one more year. Excellent. I'll probably get on that then, especially if it's $5. I'll just download it digitally on my Xbox. Sweet. Sweet stuff, man. Neo Z, no joke, it's a toy commercial. I hear you. Thompson Tom, Brandon, do you have any original horror movie posters in that room? I do not. Not in this room. I have a stack of posters in my bedroom put away in storage that I should break out here for one of my live streams and just go through them one by one. Up here in this closet above our media area, I have a couple posters up there rolled up. I have a Glenn Strange painting print poster size rolled up. I need to frame that, but I'll show that off too next time. But it's too hard to get to all this stuff right now. Joe Jack says you can play Friday until at least December. 2024. Okay, not even this December. Sweet. Yes, I play on Xbox and have no issues. It gets a very dedicated fan base. Sweet. I'll have to play together when I get on that. When I get on the server, that'll be kind of funny. Maybe we can live stream that. You guys just killing me the whole time or something. That'd be pretty funny. That would be pretty funny. Pretty funny. So we've been going for, let's see, an hour and 45. I've had a good time tonight, guys. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Again, it's been a very, very chill, weird 4th of July. Probably the most chill 4th of July we've ever had. But our daughter Isabella had a good time. I had a good time. I think Shanna had a good time. It was just very chill, very relaxed. Nothing major happened. We went to the parade. We saw some killer fireworks in the town over. It was good stuff. And I felt like I needed to go live tonight just to sort of that last little cap end to the holiday weekend, even though it's Tuesday. Again, even though it's a Tuesday. Justin Smith says, you do have to feed Grandpa blood constantly in the TCM game to help you be able to detect the victims on the map. What the hell? Is Grandpa like, he has like magic powers that are fed by the blood, so when you feed him the blood, he can just tell you where they are? That's pretty strange. Saturn Video says, it's a coincidence that Jason Lives is my favorite Jason in the game. No, because Jason Lives, Jason is the best Jason. Jason Takes Manhattan Jason is the scariest Jason. Jason Lives Jason is the best Jason. Sort of like my Freddy's Dead, or my Freddy Krueger argument. My favorite Freddy is New Nightmare Freddy. The scariest Freddy is Freddy's Revenge Freddy. So, hopefully you can pick up what I'm putting down there with that concept. Oh yeah. Thompson Tom, appreciate you answering all these questions. You're a cool dude. My favorite Child's Play film. Oh, what's up, Thompson? With the favorite Child's Play film question. Okay. I'll give you some context. Growing up as a kid, Child's Play 2 was my go-to. Child's Play 3 was my secondary go-to. Child's Play 1 I didn't watch as much as a kid, but every time I watched it, I was enthralled with it. And now as an adult, an old man at that, Child's Play 1 is so good and so captivating and so rich. It's just insane to me how good of a movie that is, inside and out. Even the acting is killer in that movie. Like, you believe everything about Child's Play 1, it's got to be part 1. Part 1 is so damn good. And again, I think part 2 is the easiest to digest. and the easiest to watch, but Child's Play 1 is probably a masterpiece, or at least akin to a masterpiece. I also think Bride of Chucky is severely underrated. I cannot stand Seed of Chucky to this day. Curse of Chucky was pretty good. Did not like Cult of Chucky, but liked it better than Seed. Had not seen the TV show, refused to watch the TV show, watched about 25-30 minutes of the remake with Mark Hamill, turned it off. Not a fan of that movie. For me, it's Child's Play 1, 2, 3, and sometimes with or without Bride of Chucky, because I do love that film in its own right. Everything past that, take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. Justin Smith says exactly the same with Jason Lives and Jason Takes Manhattan. Exactly. Like, Jason Lives is my Jason. Like, that's the most iconic Jason to me, right? But Jason Takes Manhattan, Jason, I've said this a million times, is the scariest. There is something relentless about that version. He feels like the Jason you cannot get away from. Like, I feel like you could get away from part 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, 10, Freddy vs. Jason, if you really put your mind to it. But something about Jason Takes Manhattan, Jason, feels like he's going to get you no matter what. And there's something really unnerving about that. Thompson Tom, I love Child's Play 3. Nostalgic will never get old. The first 3 as a whole. Yep, I agree. I saw that in theaters, like a bunch of other horror movies at the time that I probably shouldn't have been watching. My mom somehow took me to see that at our old AMC back in 91. I think it was 91. I would have been 4 or 5 years old. The most vivid memory I have of seeing that movie in theaters was the part where, first of all, the opening scene where the blood gets dipped into the rubber and it turns into like the swirly blood thing. That was killer. But the empty head of the doll screaming no, that is the most, it's locked into a core memory in here from that theatrical experience. So weird. So weird, man. Emmerich says, agreed. Cable usually played horror sequels more growing up, so when I finally seen Child's Play and Alien, they became my favorites. Excellent. Saturn Video says, but Brandon, Seed of Chucky is a masterpiece. No, sir. No, sir. I will admit there's funny stuff in it. It's easy to roast, but I think Bride of Chucky pushed it as far as it should have gone into comedic, manic territory. I think the ending scene, the punchline of the baby being born, was a joke and should never have been explored palpably in a sequel. I just think Seed of Chucky, you can't recover from that fully ever if you keep it canon, which they have. So it's like, I roll my eyes at it. I know people love it, and I don't hate on those people, and I try not to hate on the film, because not everything is everybody's cup of tea, but it's just like, I feel like the series went so wrong with Seed of Chucky, and it's never really recovered. And I don't think it ever will recover. So that sucks in that regard. But John Waters in that film kicks ass. I do love John Waters. That guy is crazy. I love that guy. Justin Smith says, I only like Child's Play 1, 2, and 3. After 3, I feel Chucky turned into a joke. I feel like he was still pretty serious in part 4, though. Like, I think Bride of Chucky was more of a tongue-in-cheek, I guess you could call it a joke. He just became so mainstream and so hip by that point that he was just sort of overly embraced by the masses. But I think Seed of Chucky was when he really became a joke, in my opinion. Justin Smith, always loved the death of Chucky in 3. Oh, it's so good. That sound that they use when he hits the fan blades is so crazy to me. I love that sound effect. And I still love the fact that they show his chopped up remains at the beginning of Bride of Chucky. What a good little kiss on the cheek as far as continuity is concerned. Like, they're keeping part 3 canon to Bride of Chucky. Like, back then, even, we knew continuity was important, and it was good to see that they carried over, at least, they didn't really mention it by name directly in the film, but the fact that he was chopped up at the beginning and she sewed him back together, I'm glad they kept part 3 fully in canon, because I know a lot of people didn't like part 3, and that movie sort of tanked at the box office. So we were lucky in that regard that Bride of Chucky continued directly from that. That's what I'm starting to get to. John O'Bannon says, I watched the Child's Play series. It's actually pretty decent if you ignore the socio-political underpinnings. I guess. I mean, maybe I'll give it a whirl in a couple of years. It's just, I think it's just too much. Like, I really don't want to watch a TV show about Chucky. I don't have time to dedicate to these shows as it is. I'd rather watch movies, one-offs I can enjoy for 2 hours of my time, and then be done with it, and then go back to watching The Office with Shanna. That's the one show I can really dedicate a lot of my time to reruns of. That and 70s Show and Cheers and stuff like that. I don't want to watch Chucky as a TV series. I feel like, I don't know. I'm being old and folded. I'm not trying to kill the buzz, but it's like, I just don't see what the hell the point was. Whatever. I'm rambling about Chucky. I am rambling about Chucky. Joe Jack says, but I hear you, John O'Bannon. I hear you. I've heard that before. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I'm probably not gonna ever give it a chance. Maybe down the road. Maybe. Joe Jack says, Bride of Chucky is the last one I saw. Any new ones worth watching? I hate Seed. I enjoyed Curse. I did not enjoy Cult, but I liked Cult better than Seed. And I didn't even finish the remake. So if that tells you anything, then good. Saturn Video says, Curse of Chucky is legitimately great. It's pretty good. It's pretty damn good, especially for a straight-to-video movie, especially the year it came out. Because that was what? That was 2013? 2012, maybe? I don't know. Whenever it came out, it was good. Cult, not so much. Kind of lackluster. Thompson Tom, besides Valentine, what's your favorite 90s slasher? Valentine is actually a 2000 slasher. It's not my favorite slasher. My favorite slasher is Jason Lives. It's also my favorite horror movie. And so on. I'm rambling. But I get what you're saying. Besides Valentine, are you saying as far as like, because I consider Valentine's one of my top slashers. But are you asking like, besides Jason Lives and Valentine, or like just beside, like on the level of Valentine, are you asking like in that genre? Let me know, Thompson, because I can go on and on about this and categorically decipher through everything in my head, and it's take 2 hours at the time. So I don't think you want that kind of answer. Justin Smith says, I watched the first season, Chucky, and then I was like, yeah, I'm out. That's what I've heard a lot too. Joe Jackson's Cheers is so good. Night Court too. Yeah, Night Court kicks all kinds of ass. So Joe Jack, when I was a kid, watching Night Court on cable with my mom, on an old tube TV, terrible quality. As a kid, and we're talking young kid, I swear to God, the ending plate, and I always forget what the name of the company is. Let me look it up. Oh, I know what it is. It's Starry Night Productions, the production company for Night Court. Rattled me as a kid. The laugh that happens is so spooky in that commercial. It blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. Matter of fact, I'm going to go play that right now. Let me look it up real quick and find that. The Starry Night. Starry Night logo. Let's see what we can see. Here it is. All right, so I'm going to play this, and you guys tell me if you can hear it. Oh, that one didn't have the laugh. That one didn't have the laugh. Let's go back. Let's try to find a different one. Let's try this one. Of course, there's an ad. Here we go. That is not it. What is going on here? Let's try the logo history. Okay, so I was just on this one. Here, it's coming up next. Watch. There it is. That's the laugh that freaked me out. Could you guys hear that? Could you guys hear the laugh? Let's do it one more time. Tell me if you can hear this. Dude, I get chills just hearing that laugh again. It's crazy. Absolute chills, man. Absolute chills. I'm losing the chat here. I'm losing the chat. Justin Smith, Ash vs. Evil Dead was the only series I actually watched all the way through. Nice. I've seen the first season, or at least most of the first season. I haven't watched anything else, unfortunately. Amric says, Cheers is infinitely rewatchable. It is, dude. Cheers is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Justin Smith says, I have zero interest in the Friday the 13th show. Absolutely the same. I don't care. And that sucks too because Jason's my boy and that franchise is my franchise. But I just have zero interest. It's going to take a really good trailer to pull me into that one. John O'Bannon says, Night Court is still the greatest show ever in my opinion. Robert Englund had a cameo. Nice. I'll have to look that up. I don't remember that. But that's a great show. Night Court is one of those old 80s shows that just has that cozy feeling, like Cheers. It's just cozy. You like the characters. It's just, I don't know. Everything about Night Court works for me. Justin Smith. Have you guys watched the new Night Court yet? I have not seen it, but I've heard good things. If you've seen it, let me know. Let me know if you've seen it. Justin Smith. Unsolved Mysteries theme song always scared the shit out of me as a kid. It did, dude. That whole show was terrifying, but the theme song especially. Amaric Calhoun says, Chucky, Fargo, Ash vs. Evil Dead, Westworld, so many great shows based on films. Agreed. I have not seen the Chucky show. I have not seen the Fargo show. I've only seen most of the Ash vs. Evil Dead season 1. I have not seen any Westworld. So, Justin Smith says you can't hear it. That sucks. That sucks. I wonder why. You're right. Forgot Valentine was 01. It's late. Meant favorite 90s horror. Appreciate it, buddy. Love your content. So my favorite 90s slasher. Oof. My favorite 90s slasher. Oof. I guess it's got to be Scream, right? Because 90s slashers, what else was there in the 90s? Slashers. That's got to be Scream. That makes the most sense. It's cliche, but it's the most sense. Jason Morbies. What's up, Jason? Unsolved Mystery song had that high level dead for sure, Justin. Absolutely. You know what, guys? Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to figure out why that browser is not playing audio that you guys can hear. Oh, you know what? Maybe I have it muted. Okay, so I'm going to play it again. You guys let me know if you can hear the laugh now, okay? Here we go. Ooh, that was even scarier, man. Could you guys hear it that time? By chance? Let me know in the comments. Because we're going to get through this. We're going to work this out. I want to be able to play music for you guys and have you guys hear it. Let's see here. Jason says, commenting late on this subject, but Cult of Chucky is white dog poop. Yeah, I did not like Cult of Chucky either, man. Justin Smith, Candyman was in the 90s, but that movie doesn't feel like a slasher movie to me. Thompson Tom, where can I contact you, Brandon, for possible mastery hauls? Well, you can find me. I know you can't message on YouTube directly, which kind of sucks, but you can find me at Instagram at instagram.com/Brandon Anthony Tobatto. BrandonAnthonyTobatto. And you can find me on Facebook.com at... Wait a minute, maybe I got that wrong. Did I give you the wrong URL? My own URL is wrong. Instagram is the Brandon Tobatto. Okay, so apologies. Instagram.com/Brandon Tobatto. No Anthony. My Facebook account got hacked last year, so I had to make a new account because Facebook wouldn't give me the account back. That one is facebook.com/Brandon Anthony Tobatto. And if any of you guys want to come to hang out with me on Instagram or Facebook, add me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, contact me about mastery hauls, we'll shoot the breeze, whatever you guys want to do. But that's where you can contact me with anything you need from the Tobatto Man, or from the Butter Man, excuse me. Ryan O'Leary says, heard it now. Excellent. So that's how you fix that. That's good. So I just have to unmute the desktop audio. Fantastic. Fantastic. And real quick, I should have asked this earlier, 2 streams ago, but you guys can hear the soft, subtle jazz music playing in the background, right? As I'm speaking here tonight. Can you hear it? Listen. Listen. Do you hear it? Is that too loud, or is it subtle enough? Also, it's taking me 2.5 hours, or 2 hours, excuse me, to drink this whole banana bread beer. Not my usual style. Usually I drink those like water, but I'm old and folded now, and it's a work night, so we can't do that yet. Right? Heard the laugh. Excellent. Child's Play 2 came out in 1990. True. That's a slasher. Yeah, we hear it now. 1990 is my favorite year in horror ever. Good. 1990 is a good year. Heard it now. Candyman made me afraid of the bathroom mirrors as a kid. Excellent. Americk says the laugh is kind of creepy, like a low-pitched Harry Anderson. Absolutely. Ben Grimm says no jazz music heard. It's there. I know it's there because I heard it in the playback, but it's very, very subtle. Maybe I'll turn it up next time. What's up, homie? Are 7-Eleven Slurpees any good where you live? Just grabbed one. Yeah, they're good. The thing that sucks by where we are is half of the machine is usually always down. So whenever you go to get your flavor, there's like a more often than not, the flavor is going to be lit up so you can't get it. Saturn Video says it's faint, but I hear it. Good. Faint is what I want. Joe Jack pretty low. Never noticed it till now. Good. That's excellent. It's just background fodder, just so it's there. Kind of band-aid to any kind of awkward silence, because there's a lot of awkward silences on TobattoVision. Justin Smith says I can hear the jazz music if I turn my volume all the way up. Okay, maybe I'll raise the volume next stream. Lounge Tobatto is a good volume. There we go. There we go. Well, guys, we are at 2 hours now. I think it might be time to kick it. It's 12:30. I got to get up early for work in the morning. What do you guys think? Is it time to call it a night, or should we keep going? I think we should call it a night and do this again later in the week. That's what I think we should do. Thompson says, thanks again, Brandon. You take care of yourself too, Thompson. Absolutely. Good having you here. Jason Morby says, forget mirrors. Candyman scared me from public restrooms as a child. Excellent. I never found Candyman creepy. I always thought he was just awesome, but not creepy. But yeah, I think we've had a pretty good show. Pretty good stuff. And
What is this? A floating island?
good stuff. Good stuff. Saturn Video says, when's the Corn on the Cob stream? Probably at 3 a.m. in the morning tonight. We'll do it. Americk says, happy 4th. Back at you. Ryan O'Leary. What's up, Ryan? Great chat, man. Appreciate you being here, Ryan. Happy 4th to you as well. Johnny Bannon says, night Tobatto. Another great show. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you guys being here and sort of helping hold my hand through these. Because I get flustered. I talk super fast. I stutter over my words. I slur. And I don't mean to. I have a really anxiety problem, especially being on these streams by myself. But it's been fun and awesome. I'm trying to get the hang of doing these solo streams. Just so I can start doing solo streams. I don't always need to be the wingman, having my hand held by anybody else. I need to start doing this on my own channel and get into the routine so I can start having my own podcast eventually, have my own guests, have Christian and Garrett and Nick on my own shows for once instead of always having to tack onto their shows. That would be cool. But I need to get this down to a science, and you guys are helping me get through this. It's been fun. I've had a blast. And I appreciate you guys placating me for these 3 streams so far. It's going to keep going because I'm having a blast. I think it's good stuff. Joe Jack, I've got another Vinegar Syndrome sale to complain about tomorrow, so I better get some rest. Exactly. Joe Jack, you sleep tight, my friend. Have a good night. Neo Zed, you as well. Good night, everybody. It's been fun. I'm going to sign off. You've been great. I will go back through the chat tomorrow and make sure I didn't miss anybody's comments and respond then. Love you guys. You guys are awesome. I will see you this week sometime. Happy 4th, or I guess happy 5th now. Smith says, easier the more you stream. Absolutely. Good night, everybody.